Good.
Hello?
Yeah, you get it rubbed out, right?
Yep. Got it.
7 o'clock, we're going to open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Adoption of agenda. I've got a late agenda item for the fire chief. We're going to move a firefighter cadet to a probationary firefighter tonight. So with the board's permission, we'll add that to the agenda this evening.
Got a name?
Pardon me?
Got a name?
That is Sam DiMaio. D-I-M-A-I-O.
Is that under new business, Gary? Is that where you put that? New business?
I'm sorry?
Where do you put that? Under new business?
We'll add it to the new business on the
Okay.
power plant under number 4.
Roger.
Okay. All right. That brings us to our consent agenda. Consists of regular meeting minutes dated August 11, 2025. Our monthly bills in the amount of $148,313.14, and our treasurer's report. I'm looking for a motion to that effect.
I move to approve the consent agenda, which consists of the regular meeting minutes of August 11th, 2025, the township payroll and the monthly bills and the amount of $148,313.14, and acknowledge the treasurer's report.
Can we have some discussion first?
Support.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so have we addressed, it looked like the building department was running, I do that analysis every couple of months and I shared it with all of you. The building department was running significantly over. Is there an adjustment that they're going to be able to make, or is there a get-home plan, or is there an explanation?
Did you want to discuss that now, or did you want to discuss that under board discussion?
Well, I'll leave it up to the board, but it's something that we got to address. We got to watch this budget really tight, and that's a big overage.
That's been a topic of discussion lately.
Okay.
So I'd like to move it under board discussion if we could.
That's fine.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to accept the consent agenda. Do we have support? Okay, we have support. Any other discussion? Questions, comments, concerns?
I've got a question, Gary, on, I think it's the general fund 101G. The first item, I think that's the launch of the website. Maybe it's Kim or Jenny. So that's $1,614. 50% launch cost, and then is there an annual fee on that,
I
or
think there was like $500
an annual fee?
annual
So-
fee.
So this is
Right.
the money that completes the launch, completes the website, and then we just have the annual maintenance.
And the annual fee for the first year.
Oh, and the annual fee is?
Right.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else on the board? Okay. Motion's on the floor with support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to our report section. Chief Smith, Fire Department.
You've got my report in front of you. It was an exciting month, I didn't realize. The first was the holidays, and then 4 days later, Lenny's looking for me. So anyhow, should be in front of you. You can see that my fire room's still over 40, and my fire room's 20, so it continues to climb. You'll see canceled at Route 4. 3 of those are cell phone crashes. Otherwise, if I was to drop my cell phone on the floor, it's going to call the fire department. So I don't know, there's going to have to be something done with that pretty quick. It's getting crazy. Fun fact for you, to date, in Lapeer County, 5,000 cell phone crash calls.
How is that?
How is there a cell phone in it? Probably wasn't up seeing it.
Yeah.
That's the 4, incident 1611?
There's 4 canceled en route, 3 of them are cell phone crashes.
Yeah, and Dryden, Imlay City, and Attica, they're kind of out of the township.
Yeah, they're, where the phones
So you're expending a little bit of manpower.
Yeah.
Good, great.
Isn't that from a I just know one of the people that it was. It was from like they left it on their vehicle, took off driving, and then it fell off. So it's gotta be, it's not just like you dropping your cell phone. It was at a speed and a hard crash to the ground.
You gotta run over it.
The thing about it is you just dispatched 29 people at high speed to a fire station. If your phone fell on the ground, it says that it alerted somebody. Call and say, there's no trouble. Don't just keep driving. I mean, it's nuts. All right.
Looks like, Don, another one, looks like you had another extraction of victims.
Oh, yeah, 2 times.
Man.
2 times this month.
And then you had 3 vehicle accidents, plus the 2, is that 5 accidents then? Vehicle accidents?
Yeah, I'd have to look at it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Well, to get the use out of that jaws of life, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Good. That's a heavy piece of equipment, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Are they battery operated?
We have both times, but we use mostly the battery.
Are they Amcus or?
They're Hearst.
Okay.
How's the new fire truck working out?
It's right. It's good. Yeah. We're waiting.
Everything
now for the
going well?
factory guy, hopefully
Okay,
either next week or the next meeting night, which is a week and a half or so away.
okay,
To do an in-service training for us, and then it'll be in service. All the tools and everything are ready.
awesome.
I'm missing 3 or 4 small hand tools.
We get the windshield replaced yet?
Yes.
They did. Okay, good.
So,
I've got a bill here that came in last week, I guess, from West Shore Services.
Yeah, Dennis showed me that. I don't know why they're sending it to you guys.
Okay. They normally send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm more than happy to let you guys take care of that.
so,
Okay, so that's, you read the letter?
I've never, well, no, just what Dennis showed me, I did not read it.
Okay, well, the price apparently went up, like everything else, I guess. I was just curious.
There are other options besides West Shore.
Are there?
Yeah, some of the other townships have changed providers.
Have they? Okay.
Maybe you could email it to me and I'll look it over.
Okay, okay. Anything else for the chief?
yeah, I do have something.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure, I mean, we can talk about this at the board discussion later, but we have the chief here now. So it appears that we have a ladder truck that is going to be needing to be replaced, not in the too distant future. Apparently, there's parts on it that may or may not be fixable, and if they break, we don't have a lot of options. So some parts of that truck might be on borrowed time. So I'm just drawing it to everybody's attention that on the horizon, there is going to be another bill for another big truck. And I would suggest that we start maybe working with the chief to figure out how we plan to fund that and what the tools are that we might have to do that, because it's probably got, I think when I came out there the one time, it was, 5 to 8 years, and we're going to have to do something serious here.
After 7 years, we should
Yeah.
be planning that. At one point, previous supervisor and I talked about raising our fire millage by $0.25 to try to cover some new equipment.
Right.
We thought a little better of that because of everything that was going on with the school this last time and the way that got turned down. We didn't want to get everybody up and angry at us, so we left it the same. But that may be one option where we ask for.
Okay. Don, I had recent discussion with the former chief of Imlay City about our ladder truck. So if we get a new ladder truck, it would be a longer ladder, would it?
So we're at 55 feet now. It's called a quint. 55 feet for our area right now is good, but what we'd probably do is just weigh the options to go to 60 or 65.
I see.
As that ladder gets longer, so does the truck. And the bigger the truck, the harder it is to get in. Everybody in the country setting that we're in wants a nice driveway that goes like this through the trees.
Right.
Large fire trucks and leaving tree covered driveways don't get along.
Okay.
So I'd rather deal with and this is all just me talking, I'd rather deal maybe with the shorter truck and just have to improvise than to have a truck I can't get in.
Okay, I got you. All right, well, that's food for thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so, next budget, next year, we'll maybe consider having to do that, raising the millage, all right?
It would be nice, Mike and I talked for a minute, it would be nice to be planning for it rather
Right.
than go, oh, surprise.
What's a just ballpark figure on a truck like that?
1,400,000 to 1,800,000.
Oh, double on what the engine.
Today.
Yeah.
In 5 years, it'll be 2 or more.
Yeah, and there is some schools of thought to look around before you purchase new. NFPA standards say every 10 years you roll over a fire truck, 10 years it's end of life. So a lot of the larger departments are rolling trucks like that out for a new truck, and a lot of times you can get a reasonably priced truck that still has a lot of service left on it. I mean, it may be close to its end date for the NFP standards, which are standards, they're not laws, but it service at a reasonable price. So we should plan like Mike says. We also need to be really smart when we go to do that.
Anything else for our chief?
I hear you have a pancake breakfast coming up.
We do. Yeah, second weekend in October. I'll buy you all breakfast. You too.
What about the cadet? Probation firefighter, that's not the cadet.
Yeah, it's the same guy.
Okay, great, great.
He just turned 18, so he was asking me, can I take the orange stripe off my hat at my home? I said, maybe after tonight if you're lucky.
Okay, good, great.
Any follow-ons for that program? Any follow-on for that program?
Yeah, I'm always looking.
Okay,
Willie Johnson has some kids coming of the right age. The one daughter seems to be interested. We'll see.
Good, good.
I'm not actively pursuing
Right.
cadet firefighters, but if I can find somebody that seems to fit, sure, why not? Good.
So the truck that we just replaced, what's going to happen with that one?
I could sell it to you.
Is there,
It'll go up for public, we have to do public bidding, or we have to advertise it, get public bidding. It is for sale now. Dick and I have been a little bit slow about getting the video together, and then we'll put it every opportunity.
is there still a market for that? Is there other
You know, it
communities
just
that,
depends on who you talk to. We had a salesman in from the northern part of Michigan. He told us the truck was worth a small fortune because of the shape it's in. And then we've had other people say $1,500-$1,800 is all you're gonna get. Our last truck, we got $4,000 when we sold it. We'll know more about it the day it drives away. It's a great truck. You have to have a pretty good sized garage. If anybody's interested.
Okay. Anything else? Thanks, Don, appreciate it.
All set?
All set.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Don.
Police chief.
I don't really have anything for you. I gave you 2 different versions of the staff, the information for the police department. I tried to take information that wasn't pertinent out for patrol. I can still give you the exact same information. I know the village still wants the exact same information.
I gave the board both copies,
That's what I'm
so.
saying. So it depends on which you prefer. I'm trying to tune it up for you guys. If you still want all the information, it's no problem. I just didn't know which one you prefer. Same business for me as usual.
So Chief, so if I could ask a question, I notice the ratio of minutes spent in the township versus the village. Typically for the last 9 months, 42% of the activity on this report has, on average, 42% has been township activity. The balance has been in the village. With these 2 reports, it flipped significantly. What changed?
I actually sent a list of different things that if you compare the lists, the administrative things, for example, training, court, doing report writing, doing the briefing, things that never occur in the township. Those are things that don't really have to do with actual patrol police services. So just an option to give you guys a little clarity.
So here's why I'm asking, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels. We raised the cost to all the taxpayers. And their expectation is that, they are getting their 24/7, 365 coverage. And that should represent a certain amount of activity in the township. And we don't really, these reports, because depending on what goes in them, the percentages flip and flop. And then when we try to decide what portion of the total cost the township should pay versus the village, if the reports are all, if you do the reports different, numbers can tell you anything. What data or what information can we get consistently that will demonstrate the split on time, travel? Do we have, and I'm not saying we don't, but I've got to be able to, it's their money, it's not mine. We got to somehow be able to explain, do we have 24/7, 365 patrol coverage in the township, excluding the guy that's covering the village? And what are all the costs associated with the township and the activity associated with the township to justify the fact that we kicked in an extra 200,000 and are they getting their money's worth? Where can we get that information? I know we can FOIA it. We shouldn't have to FOIA our own, brotherhood here, but what reports can we get that will provide that information?
The reports that you have are accurate. I don't know how much more detail I can make.
How many hours, how do I know that how many hours were spent patrolling? Am I getting 24/7 coverage in the township? Every hour of every day of every month, is there a patrol vehicle available and active in the township? How can I derive that from this? Maybe I don't understand how to get that out of this. I'm just trying to make sure that we can do a check every month to say, yes, we're getting what we're paying for. And I'm not saying that we aren't, but I can't validate it with numbers that, two different sets of numbers, like which one do I look at and what should be included and what shouldn't. There has to be a way of doing that. And all the costs that you guys are incurring, because we got a pretty good breakdown of all the budgeted items for this year. And they said, well, this is why the cost went up so much. I want to understand, okay, then what has been spent of that total budget? Because if the expectation was that we had to pay a certain percentage of $1.5 million and you only spend $1 million, then I just pretty much footed the whole bill for the police department. They should be angry if that happened. So I want to be able to do that. And I want to be able to look everybody in the face and say, yeah, you're getting exactly what you paid for. How do I get those figures, or who do I get them from?
I could send you the officer's schedule every month if you like. Because since the day I started, you never had less than 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I'm not implying that we have, but I have to be able to show that. It can't just be intuitive. I've got to be able to demonstrate in September of the whatever number of hours that were available, 720 hours in the month. Here's 720 hours of drive time for an officer patrolling the township. I have to be able to make that correlation. And I can
send you a schedule every month.
that'd be great if we can get that information. How do we get the financials on money that was spent or equipment that was bought, or kind of tracking it? We got a really good summary at the end of the year of what the expectation was to spend. How do I see how that run rate's going to see, are we indeed spending that, rather than being surprised in May that here's what we think we're going to spend? I'd like to not look in the rearview mirror. I want to project forward.
I'd have to talk to the village, see if that's information I can provide for the township.
Okay, and I'll work with you on it. If you just show me how to understand the reports, I'll be happy to pull the info off. I can do the math. Because we had two versions, I thought this was pretty reliable, and then it switched significantly, and I thought, okay, well, it might not be as reliable as we had hoped. So I don't know.
We can track, the problem is, you can't break it down, when officers do 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it's virtually impossible. My guys will spend more time documenting than actually doing their job. So we kind of got to give and take what we actually can track.
Well,
Anytime you'd like to come over to the police department and discuss it for hours, we can do it anyway.
okay. All right, well, I'll probably take you up on that because we voted to do that. And we voted ourselves into a very tenuous financial situation by doing that. Everybody out here deserves an answer. And if it doesn't pass the muster with the board, then we have to rethink what our options are.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Got one other question for the chief. On your Clements report, you got crash reports 1. And Don's fire department had 5. What am I missing here? Is it,
I don't know.
I would assume that you respond to everything the fire department.
If there's a car available and they're not tied up on something else, yes.
Okay. Just didn't quite understand the discrepancy. You're showing 1, he's showing 5. Yeah, okay.
Well, it would probably include the 2 for the village too, because the fire department reports there, so there's 3.
3 to 5.
I can tell you that they were on those calls.
Yeah, I would assume they are, huh?
90% of the time I get vehicle and person involved information from Almont Police.
Yeah.
So that it's correct and that we agree if somebody's hot shot sheriff's guy or lawyer calls. I had Eddie and he had Eddie and there's no discrepancy.
Right.
So 90% of the time.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what Mike was talking about. Oh, they have the reporting. I would assume, yeah, the police are there every time the fire department's
There.
there. Yeah.
Anything else for the chief?
I got one other question.
Go ahead.
Very sorry, chief. You got a lot of time spent on patrol. What constitutes a patrol for your guys?
I'm trying to get the officers now, when they drive into like the township, to stop, pull over, enter on the log sheet, driving in the township, to try to get as accurate, more information for you guys as possible.
Do they have a specific route they take or just
No.
general?
Nope.
It's up to
If
the officer.
if they drive, I'm asking them, obviously, if they remember, because this is kind of new.
Yeah.
Trying to gather more statistical information, to try to pull over, actually write patrol into their log sheet, so the computer's only as good as the information you put into it.
Thank you, chief. Thank you, chief. You should all have a copy of our assessor's report. Any questions, comments, concerns, reference that from the board? Okay, our OEO packet is you should all have copies of the activity within the ordinance enforcement office. Any questions, comments, concerns relating to that? Okay, if not, park board?
Unfortunately, I was unable to attend the park board meeting. I'm happy to forward a copy of the minutes once we get those. I understand that was kind of a review of the music in the park and that kind of thing. There was some discussion about getting new cameras for surveillance and safety out there. And so we'll be talking about that a little bit later on under new business. So, but I will forward those minutes to everybody when I get them.
Okay, thanks, Kim. Brings us up to our first public comment. Anything from the public that you'd like to speak to?
Any update on special assessment?
You know, you and I spoke, I don't know, 3 weeks ago or so. I talked to Corey Mayberry. He said he'd go out. He did go out. I'm still waiting on his report.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will call him tomorrow and ask him. I know he's been a busy guy. Don't want to make excuses for him, but I don't have the report yet.
Okay,
okay?
all right,
And I will call you forthwith when I do.
appreciate it.
And if you want a copy of it, I'll get you a copy.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Thanks for your patience.
Yep.
Anything else from the public? Yes, sir.
Were you able to check out about the deal with Southern Truck?
In regards to,
All the stuff in the front. I brought her up before last.
as far as his selling of truck beds and so on,
Well, when Southern Truck got in there,
right?
you guys set up where they could only have so much dumpsters and trucks in the front. And it seems like it's piled up pretty good again.
Okay.
He's got a site plan in front of the planning commission. It'll be this coming Wednesday. This is a second review of his site plan. They're moving, adding 2 more buildings and moving further west. Their fence back there to get some of that stuff put behind their current buildings as far as like.
Yeah, but when they moved in, you guys set up where they were only supposed to have so much stuff in the front. Is that beyond what it's supposed to be right now? And if it is, why?
Well, that's why they're proposing new buildings to move some of that stuff behind their existing buildings, the hangars, the old hangars.
It doesn't matter, they're still under obligation to what you guys set up years ago, that they can only have so much equipment up front. Why are you guys allowing it if it is?
I don't have that knowledge. Do you recall there being a specific on how much he was able to store?
There is. There always is when you have outside storage or
Right.
outside sales.
Yeah.
So I know that there's the equipment, like if they have truck beds or anything, they're
Right.
they can only double stack, only
Okay.
2 high.
Okay.
And there is a certain footage across the front. It shows that there should be a, on the site plan, it should show that.
So if you recall that, Rick, does it appear that he's exceeding that at this point?
I,
I know he's got a
barely
stack
here.
higher than 2, I know that, but, we'll look into it, okay? I'm sorry, I
Well,
don't
that's
have,
what you said last month.
Well, I don't-
But evidently you couldn't bother to do it.
I don't recall that discussion, but we will definitely look
I
into it.
talked to you before the meeting started last month.
All right, well, I'm not infallible, we'll definitely follow up on it. Anything else from the public? Okay, new business, auditor report. Wes?
Good evening, everyone. For those that don't know me, my name is Wes Messing. I'm a CPA with King and Messing. We were here about a month ago to do the annual audit for the township as required by the state of Michigan. I want to start off by thanking the staff, clerk, treasurer, and the others up front for answering all of our questions that we ask in a day. We get through a lot in a short amount of time. Should try to be as little of a disruption as possible, but I know we ask a lot of questions. So thanks for your help and cooperation so that we could do our job. Overall, the audit went very well. The staff's doing a good job in the office to keep track of everything. We didn't have any real big issues this year. So a little bit of cleanup. Some things, as there's turnover, there's maybe things that surface with some cleanup. So, but that's nothing out of the ordinary. So overall, everything went very well. I provided you a financial summary at your desk. We'll talk about that briefly just to kind of run through where the township's at financially. This report shows the last 5 years of financial information. The blue bound reports that you guys have in front of you only have 1 year's worth in it. I like to do this because by seeing multiple years side by side, it helps us kind of see some trends, and hopefully we can identify any problems if there are before we get there. So I'll talk through this briefly. If you have questions as I'm going through it, feel free to interrupt and I'll do my best to answer your questions. The very first number you'll see on there is the fund balance for the general fund. This is as of June 30th, 2025, is about 1.9 million. You can see over the last 5 years, that's been slowly trending upwards. Our property tax revenues are slowly growing year over year. That's a good sign for the health of the township. Our tax base is strong and it's growing as there's real estate turnover, those taxable values will come up. We're still seeing recoveries from kind of the real estate crash in 07 and 08. Those values are still kind of trickling back up year over year as there's limits on how much they can go up each year. So that's a good number to see. Similar with the number below, your intergovernmental revenues, that's the state revenue sharing from the state of Michigan, also is trending upwards over the last 5 years. Also trending upwards in generally your expenses. We all know we're kind of in an inflationary time, so expenses tend to go up a little bit year over year. So it's overall good to see that our revenues are growing because we've got an increasing amount of expenses or increasing cost for our expenses to cover. We used up all of our ARPA money this past year. That's the roughly $170,000 of grant revenue that you'll see on there. So we've satisfied the requirements of that program, and we can kind of move on. That's been a long time. That's kind of been on everybody's books. So,
Isn't that a big part of the increase?
yeah, that's a big chunk of it. But all that money was also spent. So even though it's there in the revenues, it's also somewhat down in the expenses too, because that money had to get spent in order for it to be recognized as a revenue. So it's in a little bit of both. Now there may be things that we use the ARPA money for. I know we did some road work. That was the biggest chunk this year. We may have done that anyway. So because we had the ARPA money available and because we had to use it, it's kind of like, well, let's allocate this towards that project. So that could result in kind of a higher growth in this year than
Yeah, I was looking
maybe
at
would have
basically
been
just under
otherwise.
revenues, because if you subtract the 172 from there,
Mhm.
there's about 260 delta there. So you
Yeah.
subtract that. So we went up about 200,000 in revenue.
Yep. Any other questions on the general fund?
Yeah, I do have one. So you said the intergovernmental revenues, that's your state revenue sharing
Yes.
number? Is that the one that they're talking about repealing with the House bill that's out there right now?
Not that I'm aware of, but I haven't really heard much about that. So I guess I'm not 100% sure.
I did hear about that also. I think it's just political stuff, trying to get the budget balanced, but I did read about that
So
also.
the MTA is
Yeah.
trying to encourage people to speak out against it. Essentially, the bill eliminates that, and they're concerned that it might actually, because it was introduced so late, and it's kind of tied to a final budget, that there's a chance that it could go. I just wondered what the number was.
That would be a massive impact for every municipality in the entire state of Michigan. I'd be interested to know how they're going to repeal that. I mean, that's all the sales tax that's collected through the entire state that gets passed, funneled down to local government so that it can be put into use.
Somebody figured out an angle. I
guess
just
so.
wanted to make sure that was the number that I was looking at the right
Yeah,
one.
that is your constitutional state revenue sharing. So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to the fire fund. Our fund balance there dropped a bit this year because, as we already talked tonight, we bought a fire truck. Overall, our expenses, if you look at just that public safety line, they're fairly consistent year over year. The years that we show dips in our fund balance is years that we have large purchases. So the fire department is, the property taxes received by the fire department are in general covering their operating costs, and then also adding a little bit to their fund balance year over year. You can see in like 24, 23, and 21, there was growth to the fund balance a couple years to the tune of about 100,000. So that's a place that, as you guys are talking about this new truck, as the fire department has kind of some surpluses year over year, we're adding to that fund balance, and that's allowing us to have enough money that we can pay for a $700,000 fire truck without having to get financing. So that plan worked for this one. The next one, if you're talking 2 million, that's a long time to grow enough to get to 2 million. Obviously, who knows if that's going to be the final number. A fire truck is something that you're allowed to finance if you get down to it and we have to buy the truck and we don't have the money for it. You can finance a truck. You guys don't have really any debt to speak of other than there is some drain debt out there with the county, but that's 20, 30 grand. So the township's in a pretty strong financial position that if it did come to that you had to take on some debt, that wouldn't be something I'd be super concerned about for you. Okay. So as of June 30th, the fire fund is still left with a fund balance of about $325,000 at the end of the year. Next one down, the police department fund balance currently, or as of June 30th, also about $325,000. You can see that that's slowly kind of trending upwards year over year. Our costs are going up year over year, our contract with the village, and our property tax revenues are growing kind of consistent with that increase in costs. So that's a good thing to see. Also in all funds overall, we're seeing, not just with you guys, but with lots of others out there, seeing a large increase in interest income for you townships that have healthy fund balances. You're able to invest some of that money that you're holding and make. I mean, the fire fund made almost 40 grand in interest this year. The police fund 13, where if you go back to 22 and 21, they're almost nothing. So those are a good place, good showing that we're being responsible with our money that we have. And that can help kind of subsidize some additional expenses or increases in costs. So those are good things to see. The next page, our building department, hovering with the fund balance the last 4 years in around the 70, 80,000 mark, maybe a little higher than what it's been back in 21. I know that was something that was brought up that you guys are going to discuss. So for that fund balance is restricted in use. We can't just take it and go pave a road or add gravel to a road. It's got to be used for the building department. One thing that I don't know where you're at with this offhand, but one thing that you may want to look into, you're allowed to charge an admin fee from the general fund to the building department. I think you're doing some of that, if I remember. But whether you are or you aren't, you can evaluate that, see if you are charging that fee, make sure it's appropriate. We're in an inflationary time, so costs have gone up. So if that fee that we're charging the building department from the general fund hasn't changed in 10 years, that might be something that we could look at. And that would allow you to get some of that money out of the building fund into the general fund so you could use it for something else.
Like charging them rent?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Essentially, yes. I mean, there's a cost for the building department with just overhead, phones, I don't know if we're charging those things, but the use of the building, all of that stuff. So yeah, something kind of like a rent charge or some sort of an admin fee, I think is generally what I refer to it as, for their use of the township's facilities and space and staff and all of those costs. So that'd be something that if we are actively trying to monitor that building fund and see what we can do so we don't grow that fund balance too much, that would be something we could look at outside of just the other things that you're probably already aware of, just looking at rates and things like that. If we want to do a freeze on rate increases for a certain amount of time to try to that's a way we can benefit the residents, that we don't raise rates for those types of things in the anticipation that you would see that balance come down as our costs continue to probably go up. So that would use some of those funds. Those are some of the things you could consider with that.
The question has been batted around amongst myself and the board as to how much oversight does a board have on the building department's budget? Meaning that their budget is generated through permit fees, applications, inspection fees, and so on. You have any thoughts on that?
Well, my opinion on that would be that they funnel through the township. So they are below or under the umbrella of the township board, that any decisions they make, they may initially be their decision, but it's up to the board to approve those decisions. At least that's the way that's my understanding of that arrangement, that they are under the umbrella of the board.
I'm sorry. Do you actively audit the building department fund? The reason I'm asking is that I know you look at the treasurer's portion of the business as well as the clerk's portion of the business. But the building department is actively bringing a lot of funding in and pushing money out. Do you audit them the same way you audit us?
Yeah, I mean, they are part of our overall audit of the township. So we conduct certain procedures on overall revenues and expenditures for everything that's on this report. So that would include the building department.
All right.
So,
For instance, we had to turn it, give you our receipt books and
Mhm.
bank statements, things like that. And that included the building department.
yes.
But do you look at their permits? Do you look at the income?
We do a
But they're-
sampling of them, yes.
Okay,
We don't look
okay,
at
good.
every single one, but we do a
Okay,
sampling of them.
okay,
Yeah.
And then I was under the impression that the balance that we're looking at on the treasurer's report for the building department, those are monies that came in for permit fees. So, and there's a small, a portion of the admin fees built in there also. So if we have a large balance in the building department, isn't that then by rights, permits and inspections that still have to be done so that money is to be pushed out?
Absolutely. There is certainly an aspect of that it is very likely that in this about $90,000 number, that I can't quantify it,
Right.
but there is I'm almost 100% certain there would be a portion of that money that is for permits that you have collected before June 30th, but the inspections have not been done yet. So there are costs to come after June 30th that need to be paid out of the money that you are holding as of June 30th. There's not a requirement that we really match that up. It's more so just kind of timing of when the permit comes in and when it's done. I don't have really anything even in my work papers to say how much that is. That would require a bit of effort to figure that out. But
I don't
that is
either.
an accurate statement that there's a chunk of that money, however much it is, that you will have to pay out at some point from those funds. Yes.
So would it be appropriate for the building department, they should be able to tell us what is still left as far as inspections that need to be performed and what has to be paid out?
Yeah, I don't know their software that they would use for the permitting, if that has the ability to show what open permits there are out there. I think it should.
It's BSNA.
Yeah, so it should be able to show somebody that knows how to read that report, should be able to show you what permits are outstanding. And from that, we should be able to get an idea of what kind of inspections are required based on that.
So that'll give us a better idea of the solid number that we're truly looking at then.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, because I mean, that's a huge factor in that, yes. I mean, if that's 10,000 or 60,000, that makes a huge difference in how you view what they are holding as of June 30th.
I have a question for Kim right now, just here. You sent out something in regards to someone that needs a refund of a permit once they ask for it? Or was that Ida? That was Ida.
No, that was me. That was by email.
Right, but what's the number of that?
Is the $331,000 performance bond? Is that the one you're talking about?
Out on Kidder Road?
The substation?
Yep.
Right. And so that's the performance bond we still have. That's in trust and agency.
Yeah, that's separate. That's not part of this 90,000.
Okay.
That's in the trust and agency fund, those performance bonds.
Completely different.
So Wes, there are building departments out there that are private businesses, so to speak, such as Construction Code Authority.
Yep.
So let's say, just given a hypothetical scenario, that we were contracted, if you will, with a business such as Construction Code Authority, then what type of oversight would the board have with that organization?
I don't think you as a board have much control over what they do. You're contracting that out, so at that point, I believe you are relinquishing the control.
Budget is their budget, not our concern at that point.
CCA has their own board, their own budget, their own staff. They make their own decisions. You don't have a say what your permit. I don't believe that you have a say of what your permit fees would be in the township. That's up to them because it's now under their umbrella. I know sometimes there's multiple layers. Like I know, because I know this because I just walked through this myself. I have a property in Attica Township. So when I wanted to build a pole barn or an accessory building on my property, I had to go to the township first. I had to get a zoning permit with them. So there was a permit fee that I had to pay to the township. And then from there, they gave me an approval and I had to take that to CCA to go get their permit. So I had to pay 2 permits for one building, some to the township and some to CCA. Township only gets their share of, or their fee to them. They get nothing of what I paid to CCA. That's all their money.
Okay, so getting back to our scenario where it's an Almont Township Building Department, their fund balance, do we as a board, in your mind as an auditor, have the authority to say you're carrying too high of a fund balance? Okay, being that it's not taxpayers' money, it's kind of it's a fund that's there, like Kim says, there's pending
Right.
bills to be paid out of that balance. So, I mean, how, MTA indicates in the research I've looked at that it is really not part of the general fund. It is, but it isn't. It's kind of a gray area, like you call it an umbrella.
Well, it's not part of the general fund.
No.
It's completely separate from that.
Right.
But my understanding is that it is under the umbrella of the township board, that it's under your say for what they do. And I'm not 100% confident in that, but that is my understanding of how that is arranged. They are the Almont Township Building Department. So I believe my understanding of that is that they are under you. So you have the overall oversight of
So
their
when you
activity.
do an audit on a building department, would you have occasion to speak with that person who is our building official?
Say that again?
In an audit of our building department, would you have occasion or a reason to speak with our building official who manages that building department?
We do sometimes as part of our sampling that we do of the building permits and the activity of there. If we run into an issue or something that we need clarification on, it might mean we've got to go to them to ask for clarification. But there's lots of times that we do an audit of a township of which the building department is a part of that, which it is here, that we might go through it and not have any issues. And so through that process, we don't really talk with them directly.
So you got, and one of you may know the answer, I don't. I know for the clerical support staff, that's kind of I'm going to call it a salaried position. They get so many hours a week at a certain rate. How are the inspectors paid? Are they paid on a per inspection basis, or are they paid on a combination of salary and per inspect? How does that work?
They get a $50 salary a month, and then they get paid on per inspection.
Okay,
So they get at least $50, but I mean, it's always more than that. So it's not like the salaries,
Okay, yeah,
anything. It's mostly on the inspections that they do.
okay, so.
And re-inspections.
And
Pardon?
re-inspections.
And re-inspections.
Okay, so I guess when we look at that 89,917 figure, I think what you're trying to get at, Kim, is we should know how many outstanding, unfulfilled, prepaid inspections are out there,
Correct.
and we'll know exactly what that's going to cost us. And you can subtract that from the 89, and whatever the balance is, whatever's left, is essentially unallocated funds that we could,
More accurate fund balance.
yeah,
Correct.
do something
And-
different with, or whatever we decide to do.
Right.
Program should be able to show that.
I just want it to be accurate and transparent. What's
Oh,
going out and what's coming in and what's left, and well, let's just put some eyes on that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wasn't sure if we had $100 a week plus a fee or all salary. I didn't know how we broke it up. But I see how that works now. Okay.
I have one question for Wes. Yep. Do you see those figures in other communities as far as the building department balance goes?
I see them all over the place, to be honest. We audit 70 plus different municipalities. There's some that do outsource their building department, so not all of them have an internal building department. I see some that the general fund's got to contribute $10,000 every year to cover their costs. That's just where their permit fees are. And so in that situation, there is no fund balance. They're working at a deficit, and the general fund is subsidizing that department. That can happen. I don't see any that offhand that would have absorbent fund balances more than 100,000. I think I don't think the balance that you have in there is unreasonable. I don't feel that that's an opinion I would have if I see that you have 90,000 in your building department and that you have anywhere from $100,000 to $120,000 of expenses every year. So I don't feel like 90,000 is an unreasonably high balance for that building department. It's been pretty stable over the last 4 years. So it hasn't significantly ballooned in the recent years. There was a jump from 21 to 22, but that's also COVID time, so everything kind of went haywire then. A lot of people had some money to spend with some of the other government handouts, and so that kind of spurred on some building. People they were stuck at home and wanted to improve their house rather than going on vacation. So there was some of that happened at that time too. So I don't know, does that answer your question? Okay.
So let me ask another one, just kind of following up then. So what we pay per inspection is separate from what we charge per inspection, correct?
I do not know that.
I think it's like 90%.
I think it's all, my guess is it's all built into one fee. Usually you pay your fee for the permit, and that fee is going to include enough to cover the cost of whatever inspections are needed.
So here's what I'm asking. Last month, we agreed to raise the inspection fee significantly.
To what you're paying to the inspectors?
No, what we were going to collect.
Charging.
Okay.
What we were going to charge.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm
The
understanding.
delta between what it was and what it is, does that accrue to the benefit of the township, or does it accrue to the benefit of the inspectors?
They get a percent, I don't know what the percent is, but
I
he
think
gets a percentage and then the rest is
I
left.
say at one time it was like 75% to the inspector and 25 to us.
Right.
And we were getting rich, if you know what I mean. And we raised it to the inspector and lowered it to us. And we also lowered the fees at that time.
Yes, we did.
Did an area study as to what other communities were charging. We lowered the fees.
So then we're going to see that fund balance go up.
And we
And we're
are.
going to see their pay go
Right,
up.
and we are now, we've kind of automated the building department, how we process those payments. So we journalize and post everything right through BSNA, goes right into the individual general ledger numbers. We have a very accurate way to track what's going where
Better
now.
than it has ever been.
Right, so we can see where it's going and how that funding is moving into the accounts. So we can have a better look at that.
You have to realize this coming fiscal year is 25, 26. You're going to see a difference because this will be the first full year that the permit clerk gets her $20 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So I think until you see for the full year of 25, 26, you're not really going to know what's left in there, because when Ida worked in there, she got a percentage. So if we didn't get permits in, her check would be really low and then it really high, where this is going to be a steady
That's a good
amount
point.
coming out of it.
That was something I was going to bring up too, is that it is important not only to look at the variable cost of what we're paying the inspectors, because that's a variable based on how many inspections. I didn't know offhand what the agreement was for the staff in there. If their salary, whether there's 10 permits or 200 permits, they still got to get their salary. So if we go through a period of time that there's a drop in building activity, then that would use up your fund balance, or it would be good to have fund balance there available for that time to cover those commitments that we've made.
So, and we removed that from the budget too, about us charging them rent.
Mhm.
So that will also cause it to go up.
Okay. I just, in my mind, I wanted to get clear. Last month, when we approved an increase,
Mhm.
we approved a small increase in revenue for the township subsequently bigger increase in payments, paychecks for the inspectors. Okay, I just want to make sure I understood that.
And that wasn't the building department's request, I think.
Well, I
That's
know,
very,
I was
we need to
here.
be clear about that. We didn't,
I thought all that
Throw that
additional
out there.
delta accrued to us. It doesn't. A
No.
Small percentage. Okay,
Yes.
I got it.
We can discuss that
Yeah.
more tonight under board discussion. I don't want to tie Mr.
Oh, that's okay.
West up, but
The last one that I have on my list here is the cemetery fund. That's holding steady around a $50,000 fund balance. Nothing real exciting there. So,
Dead side.
we have a contract with you guys for another few years. I think this was year 2 of 5. So whether you want to or not, you'll see me again next year. We're available to you guys. We want to be available as questions come up. Feel free to use us as a resource. I can't make decisions for you because I am your auditor, so we have to keep a certain level of separation, but I am certainly open to share knowledge and expertise and give options or just answer general questions. So feel free to use us as a resource throughout the year if questions come up.
I'll take you up on that right now. So
Okay.
what do you recommend for the general fund balance? How many months of operating expense
Great.
should we have?
It's a great question. We get that a lot. General fund, if you look, the last time I looked at the MTA guide, I believe that guide says 25% of expenditures is a minimum fund balance. There's all different levels. You got minimum, average, healthy, absorbent, there's a big range. So MTA, I believe their guide says a minimum fund balance is 25% of revenues. So for you, or of expenses, sorry. So for you guys, you're at about 850. So 25% of that, you're a couple $100,000 to 250, according to the MTA's guide. I think I'm conservative. I'm an accountant, so I'm always a little bit more conservative in that regard. And I also recognize or want to remind you that at June 30th, you guys collect your taxes in the winter. So just in the spring through January through March, you collect all of your property tax money that you're going to collect for the entire year. And that in the general fund's about $450. So as of June 30th, you just came out of that collection season. You've got to get through the entire rest of the calendar year before you start collecting property taxes again. So your revenue is really front loaded in the calendar year. Or backloaded in your fiscal year. So we generally say for our calculations that a minimum fund balance is 25% of your expenses, like MTA says, plus 1 year's property tax revenues, just to make sure that you have enough to get through to the next cycle. And again, that's a minimum. That's not what we feel is the goal or whatever. I'd say that's the floor. I don't want to see you fall below that number.
So about 700K would be
Yeah.
a minimum.
Yep, you're in the ballpark of 700.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
I've heard 10 different versions on that, so I was trying to
Well,
compare.
it's subjective. So anybody that you ask, everybody probably has their own kind of marker or their own opinion on it. And that's just kind of what we've used over the years or come to get comfortable with.
I just have one question on the tax abatements. It looks like they're winding down on the industrial and commercial, page 18. You're showing about $1,500 in the industrial and about $1,000 under commercial.
Okay.
And these were 1 to 12-year terms and 1 to 10-year terms. So those are winding down. What's that?
To say that they're winding down, I don't offhand know when those contracts will end or what the trend is on those. So I'm not 100% sure. I think they've been fairly consistent year over year, but I don't know offhand when those agreements are set to end or if there's an intention for them to be renewed. I would guess that they'll be renewed, but that's only a guess.
Some of it's property tax abatements, is that?
Yeah,
fair?
so, that requirement came about 5 to 10 years ago that we had to put a note disclosure in your audit report to say, what's the value of discounts on property taxes that we are giving to property owners for various programs, industrial facilities and commercial properties being some of those that can qualify for some of those discounts. So it's not a very significant number for you guys being as small as they are, but we have a requirement by the powers above us that we have to put that in your audit report.
I can look up the ending date on those for you.
There's only maybe one.
There's
one
a
that's
total
still-
of 3, 1 CFT and 2 IFTs. That's really all we have going on right now, but I'll find an ending date on that.
Anything else for Wes? All set?
Thank you.
All right.
You did a great job.
Thanks, Wes.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Yep, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Next on the agenda is the ORV ordinance repeal.
We need to make a motion that we acknowledge.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make it.
Okay, go ahead.
I will make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the township audit ending June 30th, 2025.
Support. You want a roll call on that?
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Bye, Wes.
All right, our ORV ordinance repeal. Jenny has prepared a document, ordinance number 76, repeal of ORV ordinance. The Almont Township ORV ordinance being ordinance number 62 are hereby repealed and of no further force or effect. Almont Township will now follow the County of Lapeer off-road ordinance. Our police chief provided tonight a document that compares the state ORV law with Lapeer County's ORV ordinance for your information. We have any questions, comments, concerns, reference this issue? Yeah, I'll ask for
I
a,
just got a question. What's the general, what does your office generally see with these ORVs? I understand there's not a whole lot of problems out there that you've seen. I talked to one of the officers before.
We honestly don't have so many problems with the ORVs. I mean, recently we had it was brought to our attention there may be some concern about ORVs going up price. We were able to identify stuff if that was running, it was legally taken. It was grandfathered in, and so we can take any enforcement action.
You see any challenges in the county ordinance? No. I think it's pretty good. Okay, thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 76, the repeal of the ORV ordinance as written.
Support.
we have a motion on the floor to accept the ordinance as written with support. Any further discussion, questions, comments, concerns?
I did, when I was traveling last year on the west side of the state, I found some signs that were in some of the areas that do allow ORVs on the roads. And it was kind of a caution sign, and it kind of just spelled out that 25 miles an hour was the speed limit. If we see that there's an issue with that, we could probably buy a couple of those signs and put them probably on the paved roads. There's, maybe Glover and, part of Dryden Road that's available. So that was the only.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, we're gonna do a roll call vote, Jenny?
Chris,
Yes.
Dodge,
Yes.
Swears,
Yes.
Henneke, yes. Streeter,
Yes.
Grosbeck.
Yes.
Randy?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I knew I missed someone.
Yes.
Sorry, I was thinking I missed someone. Thank you.
Appreciate that, chart.
Yeah, the chart was really nice. It was good.
Next on our list tonight is the parking lot paving. The municipal building here, Almont Township and
Your question, Gary?
Almont Village.
Gary? So we repealed our ordinance,
We repealed the ordinance.
our ordinance.
Pardon me?
We repealed our ordinance, right? 62.
Correct.
Did we adopt the county ordinance?
It's in the document, Dennis, under repeal of ORV ordinance in parentheses, that we will now adopt the county ORV
Oh, okay, I
ordinance.
see it. Yep, thank you.
Okay, we've got two proposals on paving of the parking lot, the driveway approach and so on. One is from TG Prees. Total project cost of $125,800. Township portion of the work is $62,059. The village portion of the work is $63,741. We also have a bid from Creative Asphalt. They are showing a bid price of $131,000. Okay, and reading this, that's, yeah, $131,000 versus, they didn't break it down, township did these. Let's see that broken down on here. Am I missing something, Jenny?
They did not break it down.
They did not break it down.
50/50.
Right.
It
So.
would be 50/50 that way.
Right, so we're 131 versus 125. I spoke with Mr. Kirby, the village manager. He has no problem with Mr. Pree's proposal if that is the choice of our township board. So I'll open the floor for any questions or discussions, comments, concerns.
Just so you know, I applied for a grant through elections. It was an ADA compliance grant, and I did put this project in there for it because it has to be infrastructure. And I did receive a $10,000 grant that we can put towards this. It would be towards our portion.
Right, so that would bring it down to 52,000.
So I have questions about the ADA portion. Does that mean that there are certain requirements that we have to meet that we maybe don't meet now?
No, so when I put it in, like, I had to submit pictures and stuff, so like just how bad it's broken up, because like during election time, you have people, like on election day, we're so packed and we don't have a ton of parking. They're parking up front and walking back to the back doors here to come in to vote. And so I just sent pictures like that. I mean, we have to have the parking spots, but we already have that. That would be, you know, the lines would be.
So there's no increased cost to meet the criteria to get the grant?
No.
Because we already have the handicap ramp out here,
Yep,
right?
yep. So
Okay.
it
I didn't know
was
if we
just-
had to have it in front of the door or
No,
anywhere else or anything like
No.
that, so.
So nothing changed that. We were going to try to get a different scope of work. And it looks like they just came back with the same 130,000 roughly figure.
no, so, is it Prius, is that how you say it?
Trees.
They went to 125 instead of building up this side because of the dumpsters. They took that off and just went the same amount for the whole parking lot. Because that, I can't remember what that price was. I think our portion before was like 69,000 on theirs. And then Creative Asphalt, it was 141 and they went down to 131, changing us only doing, what was it, 4 inches instead of 6.
So I appreciate having an opportunity to get a grant, but it's kind of like when you go to the store and you buy something on sale and say, well, I got, 20% off. Well, I made money on that deal. We still got to spend $50,000 or $60,000 that we don't have. So I'm telling you right now, we're going to have a budget shortfall probably by June. And we're going to have some real problems. We are going to be forced in June, we are going to have to raise the police village by $500,000 to cover the run rate that we're paying for the police department. We've got a fire truck that we have to begin thinking about how we're going to collect a fund for. I'm looking right now, we've got a 1.94 fund balance. This gentleman told us we needed to have 700,000. We've got 1.25 million that we're holding to take care of Scott's settlement. We're going to run out of money. So we really got to think about these big expenditures. I will not vote for any more millage increases. We're paying too much in millage. We got to either figure out how to drop the general fund millage to offset the cost for some of these other decisions. The only option we have right now on the police fund is either we find a $550,000 option, or we have to raise the millage a $500,000 to cover the actual cost. That's assuming it's flat and there's no increase. We really got to look at these budgets, because I'm telling you, we're going to go off the tracks really quick.
Well, we don't know when we're gonna do Scott's settlement, Mike.
I know it's got to be at least 2 years out,
That's right.
but the price is going to go up faster than the interest rate's going to accrue. That's the way road works.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I tend to disagree, okay, at some point, okay? But we agree to disagree at times, okay?
I don't see a public outcry
Your comments are,
for paving this parking lot. I really don't. I don't see the public clamoring saying, we got to do this. And I appreciate getting the 10,000. But the fact that we got 10,000, we had agreed not to pave the parking lot. But now because we have $10,000, we're going to come up with 50 grand. And I'm telling you, financially, when I look at it, in June, everybody's going to be shocked when we are forced to raise the millage to cover the police contract, or we have to find a cheaper contract. And it's going to become a downward spiral. And we've got to start watching these
well, I
expenditures.
think when we went into the police contract with our eyes open, we all understood that probably next year it will have to be raised, okay? We're not gonna find a cheaper approach to it, I don't believe. Okay?
We got to start looking, because maybe there is.
We can look, and we will look, okay, but I really don't see it, but, that's a given, I think, on the millage issue. I mean, we dropped it back 0.25%, probably shouldn't have never done it. But at any rate, I respect your opinions, okay? All right, so anyway, the board wanted to go ahead and get these bids on the parking lot. If you really take a look at it when you come in, either entrance or either exit, whichever way you go, it's busted up pretty good, okay? I don't have a horse in a race. I know what my feelings are, okay? It's up to this board, okay? What the board's pleasure is.
I guess I will just say this is just me. My concern is if people are parking up front and you have someone that trips in a hole out there, you are gonna get sued, because it is bad if you walk it.
If we fill holes, I get it. Repaving the whole parking lot, I'm just saying, we gotta start reining in the spending. We don't have a revenue problem, we have a spending problem here. We gotta get it under control.
Randy, I just from what
Gary
they said,
and I and
Brandon,
Dennis, I believe, were out there with Scott from Prees. And we asked him about, what's the fix here or whatever. And he said, there's a spot out there. And I think he was estimating that had been
For the
there.
last 2 years, if you just did an overlay.
Yeah,
Is that what he said?
yeah, it was very, the other company there, Creative, gave an overlay on it. It was 74,000, I think, for an overlay to grind up. He said that you grind out, put 2 inches on it. He said those cracks went so far down in it that that's just a real Band-Aid for maybe a year or 2 at the most. That's what he said. That's, and the crack seal it, that was just, he said that you just throw your money out the door there. For that spot out here, but he said there was a seam out there, things back this way were a little better. But then the manhole out there, he said there might have to be something done out there also, because if it sunk down, and I believe he said that they would take care of that. That's what he said.
So the riser for the manhole and everything would be covered in the
As,
quote that
as,
they.
as needed, they would make that call.
If it needed to be picked up a little bit because it sunk down, they would take care of that. The other thing too that I got a hold of, and this is just one person, he was supposed to come last week, something come up, he couldn't. That downspout out there that goes down, the guy was gonna cut out this, get the board a price to cut out the cement, the asphalt that's there now, put it into the little catch basin that's just off in the parking spot there, not the big one out there. that was something too. I just got a hold of one guy. I don't have a price at all on doing that. And I thought, get a couple more prices too.
And you talk about getting sued, the ice on that side of the building all winter long.
I did have Preferred come out, eave trough. We got out here, he got up, put a level on it. That roof along over there is so uneven. He just said if it flows at all, leave it. Because he said that the roof line is terrible. He did say that you could put, but they don't do it. They put a heater in the bottom of the eave trough to try to get it to flow so it doesn't go over the eave trough. But there is nothing up there electrical to melt it, right?
You know, I remember when we first were approached about this and the price was considerably higher. And I had said that, you know, I live on a gravel road. This is not that bad compared to what I drive on every day. So bearing that in mind, and now we're looking at these numbers, they've come down initially because the depth of the product is lower. So I think we're down about 10,000 on that. Plus we're looking at another 10,000 to take off with the grant. Am I delighted about the cost? No. But I think it's, you know, as you said before, things are not going to go down. Would this be the right time to do it? When you drive out there, pay attention, because once a person really looks at it as they're driving out, it's a wreck. It really does need some help. Again, this might be the right time. Mike, why are you laughing?
I live on a dirt road. It doesn't look that bad to me, and I think,
Well,
I haven't heard one resident come up and say, you know what? You guys need to fix your parking lot. Taking care of our house before we take care of the roads and everything else out there, to me, that is just wrong. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think we can afford to spend that kind of money on our parking lot. But again, I'm just one vote. I may disagree.
well, it would drop it down. Basically, it had come down 20,000 compared to the original amount. Again, am I thrilled? Absolutely not. But you know, those are my thoughts. So
So I have a creative solution potentially.
I'm all ears.
The majority of the people that come to our side of the building are going to the building department. And the building department has money.
I
And
would,
they drive through the parking lot and park in the parking lot to go to the building department.
I think our auditor just said you can't do that.
oh, the auditor said you can use it. You just have to make sure you accrue enough to cover your outstanding inspection debt.
You gotta figure out
That'd
how
be
to
used
bill
for other municipal issues, no.
Hmm?
The money in the building department cannot be used for other issues other than the maintenance and the running of the building department.
plus, we don't even know what we have to work with that balance in there.
See, no, Gary, I disagree. I understood him to say that if you have a surplus in your building fund, because it falls under the purview of the board, that you can sweep the excess over to the general fund.
Well, the excess, if you spent 60 grand on the parking lot, would wipe out their fund balance, basically.
I'm
You
not
have
saying,
to find out what's outstanding yet that's to be paid out first. okay?
that's what I just said.
I'm sure that would pretty much be close to zeroing them out if, you know. But
Well, I mean, we can reinstate the rent. I mean, that was the way of the money flowing out of there before, and it flows into the general fund, which then allows us to pay for the things that need to be done to the building that they're using. That's the whole point of it.
How long will this last once this is updated? How long
how long is the bid valid?
no, how long will the repair last?
Oh, was it repair last?
Oh, if they fix it?
Right.
I think he said that the last one was, he thought, estimating about 30 years.
Oh, okay.
The creative guy said if we go with option 2, which is use the 131,000, it would last 25 to 30 years.
Okay.
And was there any discussion there, both of them say on here about hauling out the crushed asphalt? Was there any discussion about taking it back behind the dumpsters and creating an overflow back there?
No. No discussion at all.
I mean, if we're gonna pay, I mean, we should get something for that. We're gonna pay to haul it out when we need more parking spots for like overflow during elections.
I don't know how much would be hauled out. I don't think it's gonna be very much, because they were gonna grind it up and compact it down. And I doubt if you're gonna see much come out.
Gotta remove 3 or 4, otherwise they gotta raise everything, right? Because they have to meet the current.
I don't
the
know,
current
I'm
curves.
not a blacktop expert there. It didn't sound like Scott.
Oh, it says right here, furnish and install 2.5 inches of 3C asphalt. Oh, that's base, and then there's another 1.5 inch lift for the top course, so there's 4 inches. So they're gonna grind and remove relatively 4 inches.
I can't answer the question. We did say something about trying to get back there or something, I think, but then
Oh, paving, there's,
the dumpsters were in the way and,
well, there is a paved
Yes.
portion that goes back.
yeah, he said something about, would that be part of it? And we
He
said
said
no.
that would not be part of it. He said he could seal coat it or something to make it look better, but, right, that's not part of the bid.
If the bid comes to 52,000, and that is with the cost 62 minus the $10,000 grant, if we divide that by 25 years, comes to 2,080 a year.
You can't do that kind of math. We say it's 20 cents a day and make it sound better. At the end of the day, the bill is the bill.
All I did was go with the total amount, and they said the repair would last 25 years.
It's a
So if
depreciable
there's-
asset.
What was that?
It's a depreciable asset. So the value of it also goes down every year. I wouldn't use that kind of math to justify it. I would look at the cost and say, can we afford it or can't we? I wouldn't divide it over 25 years and say, well, it's 2,000 a year, unless we can pay 2,000 a year. If we can get that kind of financing, I'm all in. That ain't how it works. I would say the interest on the $50,000 that you're going to spend, that's 2,000 a year right there. At 4%, true?
Well, the truth of the matter is it's bumpy and lumpy out there. Okay, it is bad. I mean, if I've never really noticed it until I really went out and looked at it. It's ready to be replaced, but, so far as taxpayers coming in and asking us to do it, I mean, yeah, that's not gonna happen. But it is their building, it is their parking lot. And they do have to walk on it when they do come in to vote, so on and so forth. If somebody trips and falls down and blames it on the uneven parking lot, well, we might spend some money there too. I don't know, okay? But it's this board's discretion. If nobody wants to make a motion, I guess we'll table it for
I'll make a motion, Gary.
perpetuity.
I'll move to approve the TJ Pre's paving proposal dated August 28, 2025 for the township at $62,059 and apply the ADA grant at $10,000.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Looking for support.
Support.
Okay, we have support. And I will ask for a roll call vote.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
If this were to go through, how do we ensure that the village is going to go with Pre's?
Well, I did speak with Mr. Kirby this evening. He
Curbison.
He indicated that that shouldn't be a problem. That's the best I can give you tonight, Rick.
So there's still a potential that we could have Pre's doing one side and Creative doing the other, if they, in their meeting, pick apart this. I mean, if anything, it would have to be contingent.
Well, I guess if they differ from us, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Scott did say, you did ask the question about it, and he says that they did do a parking lot in Lapeer, that they divided it in half.
Yeah, but he also told me tonight he has got no issues with Breeze. I understand he's not the council, but that's all the information I have. But my thoughts on it, Rick, are if that happens, we'll deal with it at that point. So we have a motion on the floor, we have support. Any further discussion? I'll ask for a roll call vote here.
Spears,
Yes.
Eschenberg,
Yes.
Streeter,
Yes.
Dodge,
No,
Henneke, yes. Chris,
Adamantly, no.
Grosbeck.
Yes. Okay, motion is passed.
Once we did that, can we I want to make a motion about accepting the grant.
Yes, go ahead.
I make a motion to authorize the clerk to sign the MAMC ADA infrastructure grant for $10,000 for parking lot paving on behalf of Almont Township.
Support.
Motion's on the floor with support to accept the MAMC ADA infrastructure grant application for $10,000. Any further questions, comments, concerns, board discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Aye.
is passed. Power plant grant, Almont Township Resolution Number 2025-005. Whereas the Almont Township Board has discussed at this meeting the need for additional funding to purchase security cameras for the Almont Community Park. So if this is approved, it's approving the application for a grant is the way I'm understanding it. And Kimberly, you
Correct.
have some information
I
on
do.
what it's for?
I do.
Roberta. Was there any information on this in our packet?
Pardon me?
Was there any information on this in our packet?
The resolution, you should have it.
No, Roberta asked me to submit this to the board for approval. The deadline for getting this grant submitted is the 15th. And what this says is that the board supports applying for a grant. We are not paying any more money. No additional money is coming out of our funding. But the decision, in fact, we're having a special park board meeting tomorrow to talk a little bit more about the cameras and the system. And I asked the chief to talk about the current cameras and the safety issues that we have out there.
The current cameras are subpar, to say the best. We've had a couple of issues at the township park, and they weren't very useful to us due to the age and the quality of the video.
Right, and there is a lot of area that is not covered with cameras. It leads to issues with security, safety. This is a strange time, and the more safety and the more police presence, I think is a good thing. The new cameras will also be able to be hooked in directly to the cameras in the police department. So they can look at it real time to see if there's an issue. It's hopefully going to be a big safety issue and a benefit to the community. That's really all this is, just asking for approval to submit for the grant. That's all it is. And I will make a motion to approve the resolution as presented.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the resolution as presented. Looking for support?
Support.
And we have support. Any further discussion?
Usually when
I'm sorry?
when you apply for a grant, there's an agreement that there's a commitment to pay the other side of the grant. Is that it's coming from the park budget, not from us?
There is nothing that we have to pay. Everything would be handled through the park budget. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Say that again?
So there's nothing that we have to pay at all by passing this resolution. Everything as far as additional costs that will be pulled into this, if we have to match, if we have to put a portion through the park board, that would be handled through the park board's budget only.
Which we support half of.
We do, yes.
So indirectly, we are. How much, do we have any idea how much that might be? How much it goes above and beyond the grant?
I was looking at some general paperwork today that had been emailed to me. The thought is possibly leasing the system. There's 14 cameras that they can hook up everywhere. And that would be anywhere from $150 to $300 a month. So that's where and that would be coming out of the park board budget then. And hopefully, in addition to the grant that would help cover some of those costs.
So what is the subsidy from the grant? Is it like a 50/50?
It's $5,000. That's what we're asking for. Is that right, Jenny?
That's what her emails.
So it's
Right.
it's a one-time 5,000.
Correct.
So at $300 a month, that's $3,600 a year.
That's not even, I mean, again, this is very general. Nothing has been 100% decided as far as the direction they want to go. That's why there's a special park board meeting tomorrow night, so we can get it together. Again, this was kind of last minute. I was not even aware of it until I think this weekend. But again, the deadline to submit is the 15th. So that is why I was asked to bring this to the board.
I think Rick probably shares the same concern as me. If you ask for the grant
Mhm.
and you get the grant,
Mhm.
well, then you're, as we saw with the paving, then you're almost kind of pushed down the path of having to approve the expenditure. And if you're saying $4,000 roughly extra a year.
Well, not really extra because we're already paying for the camera system. Are we not?
As far as I know, the camera system that is currently in place down there was grant related, that's what I paid for.
Okay, well, it is, the camera system is very terrible down there, to say the least.
So what would the
I'm just
incremental
passing on.
increase be?
I'm just passing on the information I was asked to pass on.
Do we know what the incremental increase will be for
No,
this
no.
to the park board, who we have to pay for?
Not at this time,
Okay.
because the decision about which way to go has not been made yet. Is this last minute? You're darn right it is. This was not my proposal. I'm just bringing it to the board to get the approval to submit for the grant. If you guys,
So if the grant is awarded and then the park board decided that it's too expensive, we don't have to use the grant, is that?
the township itself is not out any money. We have already allocated money to the park board. Any monies that will be spent to subsidize the purchase and the installation of these cameras would come out of the park board budget. This does not affect the township at all.
I have to ask a question. There are 14 cameras down there?
Right. No, not now. This is a possibility that we could get this.
How in the world would we need 14 cameras?
Well, right now, there are only, I think, 2. Do we have 2 down there, 3?
Honestly, I don't know, I don't have access to this.
I can't see jumping from 3 to 14.
Well, right now, there are no security cameras under the pavilion at all. So that's just going to give us the parking lot underneath the pavilion, the playscape, different areas. They have had issues in the past. There have been some major safety issues.
But if he's not monitoring the cameras, then it's a reactive thing. It's more or less after the fact, we can see what happened, but it isn't preventative where he can see what's going to happen. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, the cameras are real time.
Yeah.
So if they're watching and they see something, they can, hustle over there. But you're right.
He's not
It would be, what was that?
He said he's not monitoring.
Well,
We don't have the ability to monitor.
right now, but with the with a newer camera security system, we could put it on our phones to watch, the cameras. And that's what would be sent into the police department. But
Let's be honest, we don't watch the dumpsters in the back of our own
No.
building, which we can watch on camera to make sure people aren't putting couches in there.
Right.
So I doubt anybody's gonna go on their phone and watch and see how we're doing at the park. So I would say they're gonna be unmonitored unless it's after the fact to see what happened. But it isn't gonna be a preventative tool.
You know, I'm not trying to sell the security system. I'm trying to convince everybody just to ask them if they support the resolution for the park board to apply for a grant. That's all I'm here for.
Okay, so you're asking for a resolution
That's
from
all.
the township board.
Yes.
Where's the village in this thing?
I believe they are going to be looking at the same thing. Am I right, Jenny? Do you know?
When?
When I asked Kim, she didn't know anything about it when I was
Okay.
asking her for a resolution.
Okay.
So we're gonna be funding, well, I can see us
But this resolution
needing
is
more
only
money
giving
next year to run the cameras.
The resolution is just permission.
For the grant, I understand
to
that.
apply for it. They might
Well-
not even get it.
Right, they might not even get it. And then they're under no,
But shouldn't the village apply also?
I would think so.
Well, I don't know. I don't know too much more about this
Again, I was just asked to present it on Saturday.
than,
I don't know much more about it other than that.
than I don't know. I would need to know.
Is it the board's, idea to table this? Then?
Yeah.
Is that what
Well,
we're
you
doing?
can't table it. We have to either vote it up or down because the submission deadline is the 15th. It's next Monday. Am I delighted this was last minute? I'm not.
If it's gotta be in by next Monday, when is the village meeting next?
I do not know.
They're gonna have a special meeting?
Again, I have not had any input into the planning, the proposals, anything, other than bringing it here.
So tomorrow.
Tomorrow they would have it, I think. It's the second and fourth Tuesday.
Is that it?
Well, so they didn't know anything
You
about
got that
it today.
right.
They're gonna know about it tomorrow.
But I mean, the resolution is only saying that the park can apply for the grant. If they come back and say, we need you to give us $5,000 and we say no, then they turn the grant down. It's not like we're putting money towards it right now. We're just giving them permission to apply.
And I get that, and I'm not saying that you're trying to stalk for money. I see how it works. When we have 5,000 free dollars, we throw a whole bunch of other money on top of it, so we don't lose the 5,000 free dollars. I don't want to, we gave money to the park for a list of specific things. I don't remember this being one of them. We're putting in a better camera system, but I don't think the police department is, I wouldn't expect them to monitor, have somebody looking at a surveillance video all day of a park. So I'm just questioning, where is this going to go? Okay, the resolution is easy. We resolve to do this.
And
But
my response
then what?
is that I wouldn't expect them to sit there at the monitors like, this is, something
I mean, if they just,
critical happening, every day nonstop.
did they just open this grant this month?
I was literally asked to do this Saturday by Roberta. She wants to get this applied for by the 15th.
To fill out the
I know,
resolution.
it's one of the downsides of bringing something in on the, 11th hour and saying, okay, can you guys do this? It would have been nice to have had the additional detail
Well,
to say,
I do not disagree because it sure
It
was not real
goes.
pleasant to sit here and have had the majority of you firing questions that I don't know the answer to. And I would have preferred to do it a little different way if I could. But this is what's in front of us. And I would just like to get call for the motion and
So do we
call the vote.
we have a motion made and support, am I correct?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
post.
Nay. You got 2 nays?
Oh, I'm a no.
Okay.
3 nays? 4?
Four.
4 nays. Okay,
Okay.
motion fails. Okay. Number 5 on our calendar of events tonight is moving Sam DeMaio, who is a cadet firefighter, into a probationary firefighter. Am I correct?
You are correct.
And he was our first cadet, was he?
He was.
Okay, and he's anxious to get rolling.
Yes, he's reached that age where he can become a.
Okay, all right.
I'd make a motion that we make the cadet Sam DeMaio, move him to probation, right?
Support.
And take that yellow or orange stripe
Yeah,
off,
take the stripe.
It's a blue one.
give him a blue one.
All right, we have a motion on the floor with support to move Sam DeMaio from a cadet firefighter to a probationary firefighter. Any further discussion, questions, comments, concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is granted. Motion is
Thank you.
approved.
Mr. Supervisor, I would like to allow the school
I agree.
students to come up and have their thing signed. And
Is that a motion? Is that a motion?
Yeah.
The adults can do that too.
Everyone has to speak for 5 minutes and then we'll sign.
Cut up, folks. We'll sign your paper for you.
Thought you were just excited
I
to
can
watch
sign it.
all this.
It was a long, it's still going on. It was-
Anywhere in particular?
There you
No,
go.
you're
You
not
are
signing
welcome.
yours.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sign mine.
Young man, did you need yours signed as well? Oh, oh, you're not a high school. I'm sorry.
He's got to go home and do his homework now.
Sign mine.
Well,
Hey,
say hi to the guys.
straight home.
Go home and go to bed now.
No, I'm going across the street.
Yeah, right.
All right. Thanks, Don.
Yeah.
Public comment. Anything from the public? Don't have much public left.
Oh, we forgot building department costs.
The what?
Mike's brought up building department costs.
Yeah, all the
That's
stuff
under
you said we were gonna
discussion.
talk
Oh,
about.
just, I had it under new business. I'm sorry.
Okay, board discussion, right. I have no correspondence at this point. Board discussion. Now, what were we gonna discuss, Mike?
So we were running a little hot on the budget for the building department.
Yeah.
And some of that seemed to, I don't know how much of it can be brought back on track, but we need to monitor it because at the run rate that they're going at, it's going to be way over by the end of the year.
That's not,
I've asked Mr. Israel for next year to prepare his budget and submit it to the board. He has a more clear, I would hope, idea of what his budget requirements are than we do. So it's kind of something that has never been done, but he is a department head, no different than Don Smith submits his budget request. So I agree, okay? This whole thing with the building department is in flux, I guess, if you will, trying to get a handle on it. I'm still doing some research, and I'm sure you will too, Mike, as to how much oversight a township board has on their building department, since it is not tax dollars, okay? So there's a little difference there. So I agree with what you're saying, okay? The budget that I threw in there this year was based upon last year's, okay? But if we're changing the process, which I think we're doing, where everybody is more involved and aware of what goes on back there. Joe tells me that he never knew what kind of money he had for years, never knew what kind of money he had in his building department. Well, obviously that was not a good program. So we're trying to revamp that process. So your comments, I agree with. What do we do right now?
Have we followed through with the HR manual and made that clear to all the employees what the rules are with respect to overtime and so forth?
What was your question? Reference that?
Try it a different way. Does everybody understand the rules about working excessive hours and overtime?
Do they understand? I can't answer that. I don't know.
So we asked to have that distributed to all the employees to make
you
sure
only
they.
have 2 employees. That's all you have, really. I mean,
bit more. than that.
Like Joe, I did sit down with Joe and talk to him, and
Okay.
he said, I told him, I get you can't know if you're gonna be over by 10 hours overtime or 20 hours, but then if you think for a month, we're super, super busy, I'm gonna come and say, can I have a maximum of this number of hours of overtime? But I mean, it only really applies to the building department, because there's really no other.
Or I think you have somebody in the zoning administration
Those-
office.
Those ones.
You have a clerk,
No,
or
she's
a-
appointed, she's not considered, oh, for the permit clerk, yeah.
right? And then you have a deputy clerk.
Those are appointed positions, they're not technically considered employees. For MTA purposes or auditing purposes, anything, they're not considered employees.
But once they get paid, this board has a say in how much and how many hours. So let's say anybody who, once you appoint them, you can appoint anybody. We've had this talk. Anybody can become the deputy clerk. As soon as they get paid and become a paid employee, it's a whole different ballgame. And they can work the number of hours and at the rate that is approved by the board, period. To me, that makes them an employee. So you can categorize it however you want.
Yeah.
You could appoint
Right,
somebody
like
from
mine
another
will-
state to be a deputy
Right.
clerk.
Right.
And that gives them the power to act on your behalf when you're not there. As long as we're not paying them, the board has no say. But if they're being paid, it's a different ballgame. Then we approve the amount, the hours, and so forth. So I consider that they have to understand, they have to work within those hours. We can't pay them additional above what we already budgeted. Same is true with the people in the back, the zoning administrator and the building permit clerk coordinator. They were approved to be hired at a certain rate, a certain number of hours, and that's what was budgeted. If they go above that, it takes the board's approval to say, yeah, okay, we get it, you can work an extra 10 hours or whatever.
And I told Joe from now on, he would have to come and say, but he's like, well, I won't know. And I said, that's why I'm assuming he would come and say a maximum of this many hours this month. He's not gonna know whether cause she was over this month, cause that's why I went to Kim and asked her, it was like 20 hours over. or
20,
21
21, something like that.
hours over what we were open. But we have to pay her because Joe said it was okay for her to work it. This is where it's a gray area, I guess.
Well, it's not very gray, it's pretty black and white.
Yeah, it's pretty black and white to me.
Yeah.
Look, this is how many hours a week you work. If you can't get the job done in that number of hours, then you're the wrong person for the job. We allow you to work this many hours at this rate, period.
So
Okay, so I have a question. So I did go in there and they did say, I believe it was over the last month and a half or so, the monies that they
it
had
has
come
been
in.
a lot.
Okay, like $73,000 or more, just
I was
whatever.
thinking it was like 60 something.
Okay,
In the past couple months, if you add
but
it, yeah.
it's like, that was more in that month and a half than we did all last year in permits. So if that's being busy and taking in money for permits, how is the staff supposed to keep up with everything? Just let it pile up and pile up and pile up? I mean, from my talks with Laura was that she said the payroll, she took it and put it on Excel to simplify it,
She did make it a lot easier.
to
this
make
month,
everything
so, yes.
more flow easier, faster. I get it. I mean, and when Paige was back there and I'd go back there, it's like, I'm gonna go home. I mean, was there something for her to do back there? I mean, but now it's like crazy back there with permits from what I understand.
There's a lot of houses going up right now.
I get what Mike is saying. We allocated a dollar amount for a number of hours. I don't know that it's a service to the community, and the HR manual, as far as I'm concerned, is a living document. But when November, December comes, are we gonna pay them 20 hours when there's nothing to do, or whatever that is?
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
right now.
I get it. I just was when things are,
And I don't agree with charging rent or painting the building is a budget management tool for the building department. We got, and I think I go back to Mike's earlier point, we just approved a rate increase for the permits. Maybe that was a mistake. It seems to me we gotta go back and revisit that, and the auditor said that the $90,000 is all over the board with other communities. The $90,000 got a balance, and they've got the outstanding payments to be made, because that's a.
And I think those numbers need to come out of of what
Yeah.
monies
Mhm.
are there that they're gonna take away from that number
Yeah.
too.
We can't do anything until
Yeah, until
we have that
find all
report.
that out.
Right.
We don't know where we stand with it. And right now, if you look at the treasurer's report, the balance was 130,000. I mean, salaries came out of that, and then some checks came out of that. But it's stepping up. I mean, it's increasing. So there's more than 90,000.
There's one or two ways
Yeah.
of looking at the issue of hours. I mean, if she's hired in to work 24 hours a week, 4 days a week, 6 hours a day, and she's busy, you know, what she can't complete today, she can work on tomorrow to authorize a little bit of overtime in busy seasons. I understand that. What's the limit on that? I don't know, but his income right now is supporting his overhead right now. How it's gonna, hash out comes this winter, I don't know. Will he have an overage left in his fund balance to pay her then her normal salary for 24 hours a week, or would it be a layoff? That department is so fluctuating in its budget that it's hard to make that guess. Okay, and it's all tied into the economy, and some people surmise that we're gonna have another recession, or the market's gonna fall out of the housing market here in the near future. I don't, right now it's on fire, but again, we're not expending tax dollars for her wages. We're expending money that comes in for permit applications, so.
Randy has a great point. Paige was looking for stuff to do. So how has it completely flipped? I get we're busy.
Question, I don't know.
That I don't understand. I do not understand that.
And a budget is a budget. So when I say look for a get home plan, I understand there's always peaks and valleys. And perfect example, you're the deputy clerk. Okay, she's going to be far busier during certain months than she is during, right before an election, I'm sure the hours ramp up. But last year, you toggled hours and balanced that out. There were weeks when she wasn't working as many hours.
Right, like right now, she's only working 2 days.
Exactly. And that's all I'm suggesting is that this is not hope is not a plan. There's a budget out there. We got to stick to it. And if we go over it, it has to be a conscious decision that, yeah, there's a reason we went over. And we agreed that we would go over because there was enough benefit in going over, or we had no choice but to go over. I'm just uncomfortable if we don't have any handle on that. I don't want to wait a whole year and say, well, you know what, we budgeted $120,000 for the building department. It came in at $240. We got $120,000 hole in the bucket. It's something that we should get a handle
We're
on.
definitely gonna have to do a budget amendment for them, but again, like Kim said, if they brought, or maybe it was Randy, that they brought in 70-some thousand in the last month and a half, I mean, that wasn't budgeted in for them to take that much money in too. So you can't look forward. We don't know what the building's gonna be, because it could be like COVID, like it went way down. That's why I say, like, looking at the audit report where he said the building department was steady every time, this will be the first full year that you're paying someone the $20 an hour. So I think that amount is gonna come down. And like I said, I paid her because she worked it, and Joe approved her to work it. We didn't take that in effect till August 11th. Most of those extra hours were actually before August 11th on her time card that she worked it. And I did tell him that he needs to come for approval, but I mean, I don't know if he's always gonna know ahead of time.
And all of that comes out of money that was collected for permits and such, right?
Correct.
Okay. So maybe there has to be a separate accounting or a separate budget for the building department if it's that. I mean, it's been in existence for how many
Right.
years? And we're just kind of letting it fly uncontrolled. That type of stuff makes me nervous.
And that's what, with the new board, that is what we're looking at.
At this point,
We're
we're
getting
trying
it reined
to
in.
put control on it.
Right,
It has been.
right.
So
And
one,
I did let them, like, I let Gary and Kim both know, like, when I got payroll, hey, like, she was over hours compared to what we're open, but is she super busy right now? I would say yes. You got Pinecrest that's putting in a ton of houses, Dryden Road, Howland Road, Daisy Lane, there is a lot
Yeah,
of
and I think when the
houses going
people
up.
come in there for a permit, they're
Mhm.
expecting, something, they want it like now,
Yeah,
and I mean,
I mean.
I haven't heard any complaints about people going in there and, anything negative about going in there,
No, she's doing a really good job. She was,
I'm not
I-
saying she's
I-
not doing a good
She's
job. I'm
handling
just,
everybody
Yeah, yeah.
well, too.
it's not a blank check.
no, I think we're looking at the wrong issue. I think the issue doesn't come down to how many hours is she working. The issue comes down to her manager, which is Joe. We're looking at the wrong person on this. This is a Joe issue. He has control over the hours of his department, and he has not managed that as he has been directed. So the question is, what do we do about that?
historically, one of the ways that this was handled in the peaks and valleys is that Ida was on commission. When she was the permit clerk, she was on commission, so she only got paid for permits that she issued. Her zoning portion was more of a salary. So she was getting a little bit to be here, so it was kind of like a, salary plus commission type deal. Where now we're paying hourly, so that's a little bit different, but we know what that is. We know what that looks like. And Ida ran the show by herself for 20 years, 25. So, I mean, in 2004, 2005, I bet you they were building as many houses as they are right now. Because they put like 10 on Scotch Settlement alone. So there was a lot of houses going up.
I guess
just
my
before the crash.
suggestion would be that the building committee meet with, I think, Kim, you hit it with Joe. And I'd like to circle back with Mike's question about did we raise the commit rates prematurely without
I
enough
wonder.
background information? I totally agree with you, Gary, on the budget for next year. But we got almost $90,000 in the building fund, and I don't agree with charging them to paint the building or rent as a budget management tool.
He said it, it's
I know
charging
that,
a
but
minute.
that's not a budget management tool.
Well,
No, administrative fees. We don't charge them
we
anything
did
for that.
that.
Do we charge the assessor? Do we charge the assessor rent?
No.
What's the difference?
Do they have an income?
Yeah, we pay them.
They don't have an income.
We pay
There's no budget for the assessor.
Yeah, we do. We pay him.
Well, the
Well,
assessor,
we pay him. He's an expenditure.
Right,
He doesn't bring any money
but he's
in.
got office space.
Yes,
well, the assessor is a contracted employee,
right.
okay? Contracted entity, so the building department is not, okay?
But budget management through taking money is not what you want to do at the bottom line, because you're not controlling your budget. I don't think you are.
I'm going to request that the building department provide a report that shows what is still outstanding and what they expect to be connected to the existing permits that have been issued. I think a timeline would be valuable
What's that?
in this one as far as how soon
that
we
gonna
want this
show?
back.
What's that
It's going to show us, so we have $100,000 in there. If they can produce a report that says, yes, we have that money in there, but $50,000 of that is set aside with the earlier permits, those are already set to go out once all these inspections are done to complete the house,
Okay.
complete the project. Those we can't touch. That's already, set aside for these other things. But the other amount will give us a better idea of what kind of balance that we truly have.
Okay, so depending upon what that balance turns out to be, what's the goal with it?
Well, that is the question.
Okay?
And that's what we need to decide as a board.
I mean, that would.
What direction we wanna go with that.
Might reflect to whether you're over or under funded on permit fees
Exactly,
and inspection fees. I can't see any other result out of.
exactly. And I like your point, maybe we were premature in that increase. And we base that off of Joe's proposal. And maybe another look at some real true numbers, that's gonna help us. But I really do think the issue is Joe, he needs to clearly be, he needs to clearly understand this is the limit. This is as far as we go. This is what the board says. It's not a floating line. If he does need additional hours, okay, then come to the board, send an email. Maybe, we can address that if there is just a express need for something like that. Or if somebody can't handle the job back there, maybe we get somebody for the busy times to come in and help out. I don't see us needing somebody for the whole year because it won't be busy. But
Well, that would kind of be an on-call type of thing.
it would be, and I don't think that's the best option. It just needs to be controlled. That's all.
So when we determine overtime, she's not getting paid time, she's still getting paid. So what kind of overage, and it goes back to Mike's point, $20 an hour or so many hours a week, is that she's exceeding the, what is it, 24 hours a week? Not much, but it probably changes every
For the
week.
month, it was like 21 hours over what?
Yeah, so it's back to Mike's point.
But that was just for the first 11 days of the month, wasn't it?
Oh, wow.
Wasn't it like,
Most of it was, I would have to look.
Yeah,
back at
it was-
Most of it was at the beginning, and one
Right.
thing was, like Randy said, payroll. She was having, how Ida showed her to do it. She figured out a way that was much quicker this month. She had it to me immediately.
That's
Last
10
month,
hours
she
a week.
spent a lot of hours working on payroll to
10
get
hours
it
a
to
week,
me.
So she'd be
So,
actually
I
working
think-
34 hours.
I think that's gonna go down in her just
almost
learning
full-time?
what she needs,
almost
she's
It's
still.
almost.
Do we have to be cautious of that too? Because is that being they're part-time, right? At what point, I don't know what the threshold is now that they start to be considered full-time employees.
6 hours.
32.
Is it 36
I
now?
thought it was 36, it may be
Because
32.
if you use 10 over, I mean, that's at 34, that would be 34. We're getting pretty close.
So the board's looking for some oversight on Laura's hours, obviously. That's where we're at with this discussion.
Well, I guess maybe another question, Gary, what's the impact of not working the extra hours beyond the 24?
Right.
What's that
Yeah.
impact
Yeah, what does that mean?
on our people walking in, like Gary said, or Randy said?
Well, I mean, the building department's open 8 to 2, right? So if you get here at 1:30, you get a permit. If you get here at 2:05, yeah, tomorrow's another day, I guess. So, I mean, that's my point. I mean,
Mhm.
why do you have to work extra hours? I mean, if these are your hours,
I mean, I will say for
what you
her,
get done today,
but a lot of times I think they walk in at like 5 to 2
right,
and you have to take them. And if it takes her 30 minutes, she's gonna have
right.
some overtime. It's not like you're gonna be, oh, I don't have time to finish your thing. You need to come back tomorrow. You're gonna finish it.
But my viewpoint is if his budget is supporting his overhead, what's the difference? If his budget is supporting his overhead, whether she works 24 hours a week or 34 hours a week,
So what you're doing is essentially just giving the building department an open franchise to make as much money as they can, however they can make it without any
board
accountability.
authorized no, that's driven by the public. That's not driven by the board. So we set the fees for building inspections and permits.
Right.
But that's subject to how many people walk in the door requesting those services.
So the more people that walk in, the more
More people.
money everybody over there makes, the more overtime everybody works, the more lucrative it is for the building department.
Sure.
Okay.
If I work for DTE 40 hours a week, but then you're gonna let me work 60, it's more lucrative for me, but I'm putting my time in. Who cares at that point?
I would probably suggest that there should be a little bit of oversight on,
Well, I agree.
are you really in need of that many additional hours?
I agree.
What is that money going toward? What is the income that's coming in? What happens when that income drops off? Because the other side of the coin is if you're working for DTE and I decide I no longer want to do that project or I don't have enough work to pay you, you're out the door and gone.
Or I'm back to
They're going to
40
get
hours.
paid their regular hourly rate. So there's an ebb and a flow in a construction year.
The thing
And
of it is, if she's hired for 24 hours a week, even in slow time, she should be working 24 hours a week. You're not gonna find a person who's gonna come in here and say, well, I'll make $100 a week this week and I'll make 500 next week. And people have budgets. It's not fair to that employee unless she agrees to that, which I don't think you're gonna find many people that are gonna agree to that.
and it's not fair.
So my point is, if the inflow of cash is supporting the outflow of his overhead, I don't care whether it's paper cups, pens, pencils, his wages, her wages, as long as it's supporting that. Follow me? I don't have a problem with it.
If indeed you can be comfortable that you're getting exactly what you're paying for,
Right.
then I would probably say, okay, I agree. There's enough, the income that's coming in is generating enough work that it requires and justifies the additional overtime.
Correct.
We don't know any piece of that equation yet,
But
other than,
how do you, we take Joe on his word that he needs her X amount of hours. How do you put a person into that department to micromanage that?
I just look back historically, you've never had to do that. You've never had somebody who had to work quite that many hours. And I don't know how many years.
I will say I disagree with that, because I will say, so Ida was on commission. She worked way more hours past 2:00. She'd be down
here
she
at
would
6
get
o'clock in the
Fridays,
morning,
Saturdays,
too.
6 a.m. So she worked a lot more hours than but she was on commission.
Maybe it's
which-
just me. Maybe I'm trying to watch it too close.
I think maybe.
They've got the hottest pop stand in town and they're selling all the drinks everybody wants and we say,
I
fine,
think
use
it's gonna
us.
cool off
Go ahead.
soon. It's
Well,
not gonna have those
it has to be properly managed. I mean,
No, as
Just
long
come-
as they're bringing in enough money, we don't have to manage it. We
No,
don't have to
because-
look at the budget.
No, it's gotta be managed. I didn't say that.
Well, that's
It doesn't
what I
have to be
think Kim was
managed.
asking for.
But you're gonna have to have a person that's micromanaging that department.
It's called the
Everything
building
that-
officer.
Everything that they do in there, somebody's gotta be looking over their shoulder. It'd be no different than
That's what-
riding along with a cop and saying, are you doing your job the way you've been hired to do it?
Isn't that what Joe is supposed to do?
How do you do that?
Isn't that what Joe is supposed to do?
Joe is in that office half the time she's in that office, because he's out doing inspections.
Okay.
Okay, so to a point, I'm sure he's monitoring her progress, yes, but
well, the other thing is, I don't know that we pay him to manage the building department. That's a separate issue altogether. Because I think he's paid commission, right? Based on permits? He doesn't get a salary, right?
no, he gets a,
$50
right, he
a
gets
month.
paid permit.
Okay, so he gets paid per permit. So he's on commission. So whether we make that part of, the percentage of the commission either includes management responsibilities or it doesn't. And then it's taken either upfront or we hire somebody or whatever. But at some point it does need to be managed, because if 10 permits come in on Monday and somebody stays late on Monday to do 5 of those and late on Tuesday to do 5 more of those, and then sits there on Wednesday and Thursday and does nothing, that's poor management, 100%.
And I do think
Right?
that both of the permit clerks, our current and our prior, both looked at Joe as their boss.
Mhm.
They reported to him, so he is in effect their boss.
What
So
is it in his job description?
that's a good question.
As a building official, he's considered in charge of not only Laura, but the plumbing inspector and the electrical inspector as well. He's in charge of that whole building department. Not only is he an inspector, but he's supposed to be the manager as well.
Right.
So I guess, you know, how do you manage a manager, okay, without being a micromanager? Okay, so at a certain point in time, you've got to have a factor of trust. If you have the feeling in your gut that you're being taken advantage of, so to speak, then I guess you have to act on it. And I'm getting the feeling that some people on this board feel like we're being taken advantage of. I don't know.
I think what you're feeling, Gary, is some people on this board who actually did the math and understand that the building department is currently running about $18,000 higher than what we thought it would be at this point, and are asking, is that justified? That's all. I don't think we should leave the budget to chance and hope.
If they show an influx of $70,000, there's records of this, okay, through BSNA, that should be enough evidence to show the need.
Have all that.
But that's gonna fluctuate. I mean, right now, we're very busy, you know, and in February, I'm sure it's gonna be half of that, if that, who knows?
Would it be possible, day to day, week to week, if Joe sees that the increase in work is more than can be done in the 24 hours assigned hours, would it be workable if Joe came to Gary and say, hey, we're going to be over. Now Gary is Joe's boss as the supervisor. Can Gary just give him, and this is, again, the oversight. Can Gary give him, can I just finish? I'm sorry, can I just finish? But can Gary just give him say, okay, I hear you. Looks like we need an additional 8 hours this week. Okay, that should be fine. As a kind of an informal way to control this. And then when we come back to the board, we will formally do it. But there has to be a way that we can be able to pivot based on the workload and not just wait until the next board meeting. That way, you know, Joe would have to come to you and say, hey, we're running hot. It's a thought. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Apparently no one likes my thought, so that's okay.
We're digesting it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that you can't run the building department from this board meeting once a month.
No, you can't.
It can't be done. You can't. I don't know why.
I think there's a lot of questions that need to be asked to the people over there. We can't ask it to them tonight. I think what we need to do is move on. Anybody that has any questions, go over there, ask them. If they want to see the numbers there and get all this, and then, I mean, if we got to have a special meeting, we'll have a special meeting. But all we're doing is like guessing right now on this stuff. So I would say move on. That's my suggestion. Not saying that, and then until we have some stuff in front of us to make some decision, that's where I'm at.
I don't disagree with Kim. Gary's got the responsibility of the day-to-day operations, which includes the building department.
We will look closer at it, Dennis, Mike, you know, I mean.
And whoever's on the building committee, check into it a little bit.
Right.
Go back there, meet with them and
Scratching
find
that
out.
surface now, I mean, it's just starting to happen, but you're right, there has
And
not been a whole
before
lot
we
of
get-
oversight in that department for years and years and years, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming anybody or pointing fingers at anybody. This board, myself and this board are trying to get a handle on it, and I think in time we will.
And it's a process.
And I certainly understand your concerns with the budget, Mike, I do, okay? But I can't sit here as a supervisor who's, you know, given the responsibility of coming up with a budget and guess what his needs are because they fluctuate so much. So I've asked him, you are a department head, you come up with a budget next year, submit it to me, I will submit it to the board for our oversight and or review, you know, so that's the way it should happen. But he's telling me he never knew what kind of money he had in that building department. He never knew.
So apparently it was run by the board.
There's always room for improvement. We're trying to make that improvement, so everyone's comments are recognized, at least from my viewpoint. Randy, I had some things tonight that I wanted to discuss, and I'm gonna make it real brief. I gave you copies of fencing, if this board decides they want fencing for cemeteries. Signage, maybe, we need to look at signage to make it look presentable. On another matter, Gretchen Huff came in today, and someone else made this comment too, but Gretchen came in today. One of the founding family members in this township says, "Welcome to Almont sign looks terrible." And this has been discussed in recent weeks. We need to either take it down, have it repainted, or get a new one.
I offered to pay for it I offered to pay to have it repainted like 5 years ago.
Did you?
Yes.
Well, I don't know who owns the property it sets on. We can find out. I mean, are they still wanting
Well,
the sign on
I've
the property?
gotten
I don't know.
40 different stories. It's not our sign, it's the village's sign. It's the village's logo. It's not our logo, it's the village's logo.
Okay. Well, I'm just putting it out there that we've got some public concerns about it. So the board's gonna, and I will investigate it.
Isn't that sign on Huff?
Yes,
The township starts at Boardman.
I know.
So when
It
you
doesn't even-
welcome them to the township, it should be at
Right,
Boardman.
I have no idea, Mike, how old that sign is.
That's why I thought it was a village sign. I thought that was the village border.
Right.
And it's their logo. Is that the village border? I don't know. Just
I almost went over and took it down and just took it home and painted it.
Could you do that for the village?
Well, I couldn't find out whose property it was or who actually had ownership of it. Like I said, it's the village's logo, but it's in the township.
So,
There's no cameras over there, you go and get the sign plan.
so anyway, I'm gonna meet this gal from Action Fence just to get some prices. If the board's interested, then I'll present it to you. You guys do what you want. I have nothing else.
I got a couple things real quick. I think it was either Friday or Saturday, I came up here to get my mail. The building department door was wide open. When's the cleaning come in, do you know?
Usually Fridays.
Okay, well, it must have been Friday, they left it open. I called Joe. Joe says, "It's what?" I said, "It's open." He says, "Well, unlock it and close it, I'm on my way up." So somebody needs to maybe, that was wide open. Somebody could have walked right in there and whatever. The other thing was too, I got an email from this Teresa Newman. There is a meeting on the Great Lakes Water Authority there for Scott Settlement, and it said, you should attend this and ask about Scott Settlement. This was my email address from the township. I don't, just because I'm a property owner, I mean, Rick's a property owner down there.
But he doesn't, do you front on Scotch Settlement?
Yeah.
Your address is Scotch
Yeah,
Settlement?
so anyways, there's a meeting, in person or virtual, Shelby Township DPW in person, Tuesday, October 21st, 1:30 to 3. It's at the Shelby Township DPW Conference Room on 23 Mile Road. Maybe I'll make a copy of this and put it in everybody's box so they can, but I mean, the email was, it's going to Brian Treat, it's going to Joe Suma, the drainage guy that isn't even still there.
Are any of them property owners?
No, they're all, I mean, they're from Rochester Hills, Emily City, Washington Township.
This is not just to discuss Scott Settlement though, is it?
No, it's
It's other issues.
upcoming things coming up there. Yes.
Well, Mike, for some reason, we got two different answers on Scott Settlement on what their plan is out there, when they're gonna do this, you
Right.
know?
They do not have a dedicated project
Yeah,
on Scotch Settlement. They won't know if they have a project till they do a preliminary inspection, which they're not doing until 2027.
right, okay.
So they were right in what they said to you. There is nothing on the books for repair work, but they're doing the inspection. And you do the inspection to find out, do I need to do repair work? Then they'll know if they have a project.
So then we should still hold off, I would think.
I wouldn't put a dime into it till I know nobody's gonna tear it up.
Right.
And that meeting may tell you, I don't know what that meeting's for, but it's about that line because it starts, that line begins in Utica, runs up to Imlay City. That's kind of why I think it has to do with,
Yep.
that's it.
Also too, I talked to Jason today, road projects, the cross culverts on Kidder Road, the limestone, possibly starting later this week, next week, probably. I said, what's going on in Kidder Road? How are you gonna handle that culvert at school time? Well, we won't start the project till 9 o'clock. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. Other than that, the only thing that we talked about police a lot tonight. We need to start talking about this next contract coming up now. We don't need to get down to the wire. So,
We will start.
other than that,
So the sheriff in December is when they vote on the discount reduction for the sheriff fee. We probably need to talk to the sheriff and find out what exactly they can provide in terms of coverage and get that in front of the County Board of Commissioners to get a preliminary approval for the discount so that we can do an apples to apples
Right.
comparison. We can't just say, well, they may not give it to us. Well, let's find out if they will or not.
Yeah, we'll get on.
So,
Right. That's in December. You
yeah,
said? Yeah, okay.
I think, last year, it's usually approved in December. I don't know when their meeting is, but that's when the paperwork gets
Right.
formalized. As I said before, you don't want to have to look at all these folks and say another $500,000 and you're getting what you had,
We'll start way ahead of time this year.
I would suggest.
Okay, anything else, Dennis?
Two things. Okay, so we've approved the paving, but we gotta do something about this north side of this building. And Randy's I don't wanna be cutting up that cement and the paving after they pave it to put that downspout into the drain.
Right.
So we need to coordinate that a little bit if we can even do that.
Right.
And
the
then
guy said he'd come out this week and I should know something.
So we don't turn pre's on until we know
Right.
something. But the other thing, Gary and I drove down Howell Corners going west, came up to Holland Road, and you can't see that stop sign until you're bam, right on it, and there is no stop ahead sign. So,
Every morning, I wholeheartedly agree,
so if you don't know it's there, you're gonna go right through it.
even if you know it's there.
The brush axe, I did talk to Jason, they got it back, they didn't put the brush axe on it, they drove it around a little bit, they said they put 8 hours on it, and it had a new clutch put in it, and I guess the pieces of the clutch were all in the filter, and they sent it back up there, so it's broken still.
And I don't know if you want to elaborate on Mr. Lauer's comments that we got this morning.
Well, yeah, Mark Lowers came in, I think he paid his tax bill or something today, right? And then he wanted to talk about Glover Road in front of his house and farm, and there's 2 dips in the road there that are, if you're traveling along at a good rate of speed, which most people do, I guess it's bouncing trailer hitches or trailers off of trailer hitches and people that are taking debris or whatever, scraps of IDF or flying off of trailers. He had a couch that ended up in his front yard and 1 trailer that detached and ended up in his front yard. So I know we talked, maybe Randy talked to Jason about those dips there. But
Said it was the manhole cover, he'd see if he could go out there and build it up a little bit, but it needs more than that.
it needs more than that. It's not only in front of his place. It's, if you go further north, it's a rough road.
If anything, put a damn sign out that says bump,
Right.
but the bump needs to be fixed.
I like the other thing too, Gary, was when Champion comes on, they want the truck traffic going north on Class A instead of coming.
Right, and we've had a couple people voice their opinion on that. Whatever Champion's gonna do over there, the trucks, the fella that owns the property that the cell tower's on had some concerns, as did Mark Lowers, that instead of the traffic coming south on Glover, it should go north where Glover turns into a Class A road that's more acceptable to heavy vehicle traffic.
There's a lot going into it.
I don't know how we bring that to fruition, okay?
I brought it up with Brian Zender today,
Yeah, okay,
as county commissioner.
all right. Rick, you got anything?
Yeah, is there any updates on the drainage issues, the one on Shoemaker and the one on Hollow Corners Road with the pond and all that? I read through some of the inspection reports. Corey was supposed to go out and look at one. And there was some meetings set for 9/3 on the Shoemaker one with Wilcox and the supervisor. All the,
There's still ongoing issues, right? That we're trying to,
this is the house that's, the one on Shoemaker is the one that's just south of Dryden Road?
that's the one
It's
that
still that
had
one?
the fire.
From what I understand, between the homeowner and Wilcox, they came to agreement
They
that they
came
were
to an
gonna
agreement.
dig out the ditch
Right.
that went to 53.
But the homeowner that had the fire with the mobile home, temporary structure, he called me today with ditching concerns too. So, and the one over on Hollow Corners there, that's been ongoing for 25 years that I know of. That's the one that Corey put a report on. Something's got to be done. I don't know whether we're going to have a group meeting with all concerned parties. I don't know if the drain commissioner should be part of that along with the road commission, but yeah, it's.
Corey's, the last sentence in his report says that the constructed berms are impeding the surface water, which is in violation of the permit and township ordinances.
That's on the Campbell Pond.
Right.
That's the new house that sits back. That's the last issue there. It doesn't, Ed Attard's pond, Corey had to do some more on-site looking at it. He didn't have time that day to do it. As with Yarborough's, there also, he was gonna go back and inspect that. Joe had permission for Corey to go on everybody's property and he hasn't gotten back yet. If anybody has, he? No. So.
I'm just a little sensitive to drain issues. I dealt with them for 25 years or 20 years at my place. So
Yeah.
if there's an opportunity to help somebody where we should, then we should be doing that.
We're gonna try. I don't know how it's gonna work out, but we'll try. Kim, you have anything?
Nope, I don't want to go home.
I have a headache. Does that count?
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Or- Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we stand adjourned.
Mike, can you turn this off?